Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Bridget and I'm here to give you the confidence you need to make the artwork of your dreams. In this video, we're creating a watercolor butterfly, but this time it's faster and easier. Once you have the outline of your painting drawn, you are ready to start painting. First, wet all of your paints. Create a puddle of paint to draw from. Watercolor is mostly water. It's not going to have the same consistency as acrylic paint. It should not be thick, but it should be like colored water. Wet the wing of your butterfly with a thin layer of water. Once the paper is wet, you can take some color from your paint puddle and dab it onto the wet part of the paper. The paint will spread into this tie-dye effect that watercolor is so known for. Watercolor does a lot of the work for you. Unlike other paints, you don't have to spend a lot of time blending your colors. The colors blend themselves. With watercolor, you need to work in sections. In my previous video, I colored each of the individual parts of the butterfly's wings separately, but if your butterfly is all one main color, you can cover the entire wing, wait for it to dry, and then paint the black lines over top. If you have other colors in the wing besides black, and you don't want them to bleed together, you will have to wait for each color to dry. Always paint your darkest color last. If you notice that your color is coming out faded, but you want it to be bold, it means that you have too much water. Mix your paint puddle more to add more paint. For the flower, I've chosen yellow and green and allowed the two colors to bleed into each other for a more natural look. Once the blue of the wing has dried, I can go over top of it with the black. To get the black to be so bold, I use a very small puddle of water and a long, thin brush. This, along with a confident stroke, helps the color to come out darker the first time. Otherwise, you will have to go over it in layers, and when you're working with small details, it becomes riskier to get the line just right. So we want to make sure we get it right in one stroke. If you are confident in your brush strokes, you will create the perfect lines in one stroke. Trust your hand and your brush. You can always practice on another piece of watercolor paper if you are nervous. Try to stay out of your head and trust the process. To make the small circles of white, I didn't paint that area. At first I was using small brush strokes to carefully paint around each circle, but then I realized that using longer brush strokes actually worked better for me. Yes, there were times where I went too close to the parts I wanted to leave white, so I could have gone a little slower, but longer brush strokes were easier to control. I had a painting professor who once joked, "Use as big of a brush as you dare." I think often we associate smaller brushes or smaller brush strokes with more control, and sometimes that's true, but you can easily control a large brush or big strokes just as easily, if not easier, than small ones. In this case of painting delicate black lines, you'll want to use a long, thin brush like I am. Depending on the size of your piece, you may want to use a variety of brush sizes to get a variety of effects. To make thinner lines, apply less pressure to your brush, and paint using the tip of your brush. If you want thicker lines, press a little harder and use more of the body of the brush. To keep your white spaces white, you can try outlining the white spaces before filling in the rest with the black. This acts like a barrier and a guide so that you don't go over it. Where the two wings meet, I brought the black color almost to where they touch. However, I left a thin white line in between, rinsed my brush, and gently applied a small amount of water to the edge where the black met the white. This created a soft gray transition. This small detail conveys to the viewer that these are separate wings, even if it's only a subtle effect. You will need to change your water at least once throughout this painting. When the water changes color, it will start to affect your paint color, so you'll want to freshen it up. I find that painting with watercolor is mostly working with the white of your paper and working in layers. Start with your lightest colors first, and then wait for them to dry. Once your light colors are dry, you can add your midtones. Wait for your midtones to dry and then add your dark tones. If you want them to bleed together, you don't have to wait for them to dry completely. They will bleed together if you layer them. If you are working with green, blue will make your green darker, and yellow will make it lighter. If you are working with orange, red will make it darker, and yellow will make it lighter. If you are working with purple, blue will make it darker, and red will make it lighter. As always, you can make any color lighter by adding more water to it if your paper is white. And there you have it, your completed, fast and easy butterfly piece. In total, this butterfly took me about 40 minutes of actual painting time and about 20 minutes waiting for sections to dry. Sections will take longer to dry if you have lots of water on it. Wetting the paper makes it easier for the watercolor to work its magic, but it takes longer to dry. All in all, you could probably finish this piece, like I said, in about an hour, depending how confident you are with your black parts at least. If you like this video, give it a like, comment if you have any questions, or if you would do things differently. Let us all support one another on our creative journey. Thanks for watching!